Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Friday, July 25th, 2019. Baseball games. Can also talk about golf if you want to today. Let's start off with a little bit of review of yesterday's games. The first game of the day, the Mets did take. We favored the Mets. We liked them getting to 47 wins. San Diego equals 47, and they faced the Pirates next. Pirates is 47. Lauer did get the loss for the Padres and became 5-8 on the season. He'll likely pitch against Baltimore next. Baltimore's 58. The one riddle the Padres had going was that if they won, they would have been 26-26 away on a 26 date. And when date numerology is hot, that's always a good sign. But like we said yesterday, the date numerology is not. So we faded that. It was the one concern, but the Mets did get it done. The Cardinals swept the Pirates. The series did begin on a 23-date numerology, sweeps 23. I was thinking the Pirates would win one in this series to get to 47 because Pirates is 47 and so is St. Louis. Typically, overlap numbers hit. The manager of the Cardinals, Schilt, his next career loss would have been 76. Could have got that against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh 76. Today, it dawned on me, though, that he's going into the Houston Astros series with 75 career losses, and that's a big number with the Astros. Houston Astros is 75. So perhaps that's part of the reason they swept, and he stayed on 75 losses. We did see how the pitcher riddles could make sense either way with a win or a loss yesterday. But did think the Pirates would get to that 47. The Rockies had a monster line against them in favor of the Nationals. We haven't seen many games with lines like that go the other way, but we did talk about how the Rockies had reasons to win. We thought before the series began, the Rockies would win 1 out of 4, which is what they ended up doing. Part of the reason was because we liked the Nationals before the series began to get their 43rd loss versus the National League, and Colorado's 43. So that did happen yesterday. Scherzer had a nice riddle to win, but he only pitched 1 inning. He could have become 10-5 on the season and got his 33rd win at Nationals Park. He can still achieve that in a later game, but 10-5 is like 105, Nationals 105, 33rd home win, Nationals 33. Bud Black, by winning, the manager of the Rockies, left Washington, D.C. on 202 career losses, the D.C. area code, another thing we were looking at. So I know some of you guys took the Rockies yesterday, so congrats. The riddle was there. It was just that line. We haven't seen many lines like that go to the underdog. So that was a rare case, but the riddle was there. The Yankees and Red Sox, you could make an argument either way for this game. The date numerology, the pitcher record, just everything supported both sides. One thing that was jumping out a little bit, though, was the possibility of the Red Sox becoming 25-25 at home on the 25th of the month when Fenway equals 25. That is what they ended up doing, putting up 19 runs as well. 19-3, big score. Kind of like the Boston series. So we'll see what happens today. Remember, there was a doubleheader on the MLBN network. Again, some of you guys really like to use the network, Gematria. I'm not crazy about it, but yesterday the Yankees could have got their 67th win on the MLBN. MLBN equals 67. They didn't get it. MLBN also equals 41. The Twins could have got their 41st loss. They didn't get that either. So that's why I am not a big fan of network Gematria. Sometimes when it factors into the overall riddle, like other components are lining up, it makes some sense. But I've always found that to be not consistent. The Twins and White Sox game, more did line up for the Twins yesterday. I'm not surprised they won. They became 5-2 versus the White Sox for the year. Minnesota 52. We know that's a big number with them. That was the most standout thing. So the pitcher Berrios, did he get his win yesterday? He's pitched very well for his career against the White Sox. So he improved on that trend. Color?
Hey, Zach, what's up? I just wanted to call you about the St. Louis game.
Okay.
About the coaching record. You said that St. Louis got 75 wins and they're on 47. They got the coaching record. He got 75 losses, right?
Right.
The St. Louis got 47 numerology losses, right? 47 losses, right? So if you look at the numerology, Cardinals is not going to lose until the 75th day, and when it hits 75 and 48.
You're saying Schilt's record.
Uh-huh.
You're confusing me because you're talking about their win-loss record and Schilt's record together in the same sentence.
Look. Let me break it down. All right, today's 72, right? Let's work on 72, right? The Cardinals coach has 75 losses.
Right.
I've been winning lately because I've been doing the coaching record. I know me and you do different paths, but I've been trying to show people because maybe you don't see. But I wish I was in front of you. I wish I had a camera. So I can't really. If I show you, you'll be amazed by what I see. So, long story short, number 72, St. Louis coach at 75 losses. He's not losing until the 75th day, Zach.
So you think they're going to sweep the Astros then?
Yeah, they're going to beat the Astros. 2 more games. They're not going to lose until the 76th day. Remember I said that because, look, he got 75 losses, and the coaching record got 75 losses. The numerology is 72 today, right?
Right.
And then if you look at St. Louis' record, they got 47 losses. Numerology us 72-45. When 75 comes, 48 comes, that's when St. Louis is going to lose. They're going to go on a 7-game winning streak.
What are you saying about the numerology of 72-47? What are you saying?
Okay, look, St. Louis. What's St. Louis' record right now?
55 and 47.
Okay, numerology is what today? 72 and 45, right?
Right.
Okay, now look at 47, and then look at the coaching record 75. That's why Pittsburgh will get swept. It said it right there. I knew it's a watch. St. Louis is not going to lose until the 75th day, Zach. That's all I just want to tell you. I'm not trying to do all this, but just remember I said when the 76th day comes, St. Louis is going to beat Houston twice, and then Houston's going to beat them in the 3rd game.
Okay, so the 76th day is 4 days from today.
That's all I want to tell you. I'm not going to interrupt you no more. Enough. Like I told you yesterday, the Rockies is going to win because when I read this article when he was at Washington, when I read this is Max Scherzer 7 innings before the injury, I'm like, oh, he's losing automatically. I knew it. And then the coaching record, the Rockies had 225 wins, and the numerology was 26 yesterday.
He didn't get credited. Scherzer didn't get credited with the loss, but
I know.
The Rockies did have a riddle to win yesterday. So, yeah. All right, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I just want you to hear me out. Maybe you just check the coaching record sometimes. That's all I'm saying. What you're doing is amazing, but just hear me out. You'll be more on what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm watching to see. All right, appreciate it. All right, so he's saying that he doesn't think the Cardinals coach is going to get his 76th loss until the 76th date numerology, which is 4 days from today. So I think that's Tuesday. Let's see, Saturday be 73, Sundays. Yeah, so he's thinking the Cardinals don't lose until Tuesday. So I'll keep an eye on that. They got some tough games here with the Astros. I don't know what he was saying, though, about the 47. I wasn't catching that part, so. Okay, that Yankees and Red Sox game, the biggest standout thing is just that 25 and 25 on the 25th in light of Fenway being 25. Yesterday was also 25/7, a bit like 257, the 55th prime, Boston, Massachusetts 55. So I guess they kind of had a party in Boston blowing out the Yankees. Tanaka stayed on 71 wins on the 71 date as well. Came 7-6 for the year. But the Twins again became 5-2 versus the White Sox, like 52. Today the White Sox have a chance to make it 3-5. Chicago's 35. The Indians beat the Royals. We were saying that if the Indians win yesterday's game, they'll probably win today as well, because then the Royals will fall to 5-9 versus the Indians. Kansas City Royals 59. We've seen that number play a lot for them this year. The Royals did have a chance to win yesterday. They could have become 6-7, and that's the overlap number. Kansas City 67, Cleveland Indians 67. We also talked about the possibility of the Royals losing 3 out of 4 in this series to get to 67 season losses. which is very possible. Let me see. I don't think Plutko. No, the starters didn't get the decisions. Plutko could get a loss in his next decision because again, if he loses Plutko, he'll be 7-8 and 3-3 on the season. Cleveland's 33-78. It's the tricky thing about pitchers; they get no decisions a lot. So. All right, the Orioles and the Angels was the game that killed me. I thought the Angels were going to win all 4 games in this series here and get to 58 wins because, again, Angels 58, Baltimore 58, big numbers with that team. Just like how the pitcher who lost for the Padres yesterday, he'll face the Orioles next, and he's 5-8 on the season. We did talk about there was a couple things on the board for the Orioles. Their starting pitcher had a chance to become 2-2. He didn't, but the riddle was there. Angels is 22. Suarez also had a chance to become 2-2. Angels is 22. So the pitchers kind of suggested that the Angels might lose, but I was just looking down the road at the way things seem to be going with the Angels and just the fact that they could hit that 58, a number we've tracked all year. Also that the Orioles could have got to 37 away losses. And the date numerology hasn't been consistent, but there was just one date numerology read, and we noticed how it could line up perfectly for the series. The Angels won each game, picking up the wins in the AL that would have gone with the date numerology. I also did think because it was a 71 date that would factor well for the Angels. LA Angels is 71. Skaggs died on 7-1. But wasn't so. And something else that I'm surprised I didn't mention it yesterday, but it would have made me like the Angels even more. Yesterday again was 25/7, like 257, the 55th prime. Angels could have got their 55th win yesterday. So, that game just makes me and ha. All right, the Rangers and the Athletics. Again, this was a tight riddle. Gerardo had a chance to become 6-6. Texas 66. We've seen those riddles with Texas this year. Brett Anderson had a riddle that would have made sense to win as well versus the Rangers. Rangers had a chance to pick up their 44th win in the AL on the 44 date. They didn't end up doing that. So there was a little bit more on the Rangers side, but still tight riddle. Yesterday was tight. The Mariners were a team that looked good to win yesterday. Talked about how if the starting pitcher would lose, he'd fall to 7-8. Tigers is 78. If Swanson would win, he'd become 2-5 on the 25th. Mariners 97, the 25th prime. And also talk about how if the Mariners won 3 out of 4, they'd end up picking up their 33rd home loss in the series and no more. Tigers is 33. They very well could do that. So I just wish the Angels game came through. That one hurt. Okay, so let's talk about today's games. We got our Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. A lot of them starting today. Game 1. So the Reds came into the series with 46 wins. Remember, Rockies and Reds 46. Number plays a lot with the Rockies and the Reds. The date numerology today, again, the date numerology, it's not the strongest thing to lead with right now just because it's so inconsistent, but it is 72, 45, 27. 27, big baseball number, MLB 27. I'd watch the guys with the number 27 on their back today. The lesser date numerology is 52, and the day plus the month's 33. The thing about all the primary date numerologies is they all break down to 9 as well. All right, so in this Rockies and Reds game, Castillo, who's pitching, the game's on his 227th day of his age, which is the 49th prime. The only 49 I saw on the board was that the Rockies could get their 49th win. So far, the Reds are 1-2 versus the Rockies this year. It's the first game at home for the Reds versus the Rockies. And let's check the NL standings here. So Cincinnati versus the NL West. Oops, got to get up the advanced. 9-11. And for the season, they got 40 wins versus the NL and 45 losses. So their next loss is 46, which again is the overlap number. So perhaps they'll lose just one game. The last time these teams had a head-to-head, 46 came up big. If I remember right, somebody finished the series 46-46. Might well have been the Rockies. Or maybe it was the Reds, actually. Maybe they've been losing since then. So that stands out. That if they lose one in the series, they'd be at 46. And let's see. The Rockies versus the NL Central, 9-7. Hold on, is there a Coors Field's 106? That's not at Coors. Reds. Okay. Let's count that up again. So the Rockies are 40 and 47 versus the NL. 40 and 47. I guess perhaps the biggest riddle here is actually right here. If Marquez lost, he would be 9-6 on the season, and Cincinnati's 96. So that would make good sense. And again, we were saying that if the Reds only lost one in the series, they would they'd have 46 losses, which means it's possible they win 2 out of 3 here. Let's look at who Marquez will likely pitch against next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He'll likely face the Dodgers next. Well, I guess win or lose, he would have a chance to become 10-6 in his next game at Coors Field against the Dodgers. But falling to 9-6 in Cincinnati would make some good sense. So I think I'm going to take the Reds there in that one. Also, if Castillo won, he would be 10-3, a bit like 103, the 27th prime. So that could actually make some sense too. Good day to become 10-3. Only thing that worries me is just it's his 227th day of his age, the 49th prime, and the only 49 on the board's the Rockies. But I think I like this better. The prime number relationships for pitchers are hit and miss. Okay, so I'm leaning Reds there. Marquez 9-6 in Cincy. For the record, his one start against the Reds was very good. He had a 1.7 ERA. 1-0 against him, but doesn't mean it's got to be this way this time. Okay, Dodgers at Nationals, big series here. Sanchez's next loss is 107. We know Washington Nationals is 107. I believe the singular national is 76. I'm just seeing that he's 6 and 7 on the year. Oh no, I'm wrong about that. It's not. I take it back. Take it back. It's not true. Let's see. 35. It's 56 days after Dave Roberts' birthday. That's Washington, D.C., 56. These teams are even against each other this year. First game in Washington. The Nationals are 2-2 against the Dodgers. All 4 of those games played in L.A. Let's look at the National League stats here for these teams. So the Dodgers versus the East are 16 and 5. 35, 64 wins, 16, 31 losses. Let me write that down here. Dodgers are 64 and 31 versus NL. If they lost 2, they could get to 33 losses. Nationals is 33. And the Nationals, 34, 47 wins, 31, 43 losses, 47, 43. Oops. Oh. Dodgers is 45. That's the trick there with that. So you can make an argument either way, but it is in the Nationals ballpark. See about who they play next. I forgot to look at who the Reds play real quick. Just see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pirates either be 10 and 3 or 9 and 4. Okay. Dodgers schedule. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so they'll likely face the Rockies next. Those numbers don't connect to the Rockies. What was Ryu's record? Ryu's 2-1 versus the Nationals. Sanchez is 1-3 versus the Dodgers. If Sanchez did lose, he'd have a chance to fall to 1-4 versus the Dodgers. LA is 13 and 14. He'd stay at 103 wins on the 27-day. That reminds me that yesterday, Cora for the Dodgers, or not for the Dodgers, Cora for the Red Sox, the manager, he stated 101 losses in the regular season, the 26th prime on the 26th day versus the Yankees. Sanchez, he could potentially stay on 103 wins. Let me see. the national schedule. Nationals got the Braves next. Well, you know, if he lost and he faced the Braves next, Braves is 67. So if he lost, he would be 6-7. You can make an argument for either team to win 2 games in this series. Make sure I'm not missing something with the Rockies here. Rockies. Yeah. Well, I'd say that's the most standout thing, just the fact that he could fall to 6-7 because he does face the Braves next, and we know that number plays with them. Speaking of 67 and the Braves, MLBN 67, the Braves on the MLBN network tonight. The Braves' next win is 61. And if they won 1 and lost 2 in this series, their record would be 61-45. Philadelphia 61, Phillies 45. Phillies is 45 in both reduction ciphers. So I'm thinking Philadelphia will win 2 out of 3 here. That would make a lot of sense. If Braves win 1 out of 3, they will be 61-65. Philadelphia equals 61. Whoops, 45. Phillies equals 45. So that has a lot of rhyme and reason to it. If the Phillies won 2 and lost 1, it'd be 56-49. What stands out about today's game is that if Arrieta wins, he'll be 9-7. Philadelphia's 97. And make sure these other numbers don't connect to the Braves. Phillies. Okay. But I like Arrieta getting to 9-7. He's 5-2 versus the Braves for his career. And possible they split today and tomorrow. If they split today and tomorrow, the Braves would become 4-1 at home versus the Braves. Braves 41. We've seen that number show up a bunch with them. But it's making sense for the Braves to win just 1 out of 3. So, and today Arrieta has the riddle to become 9-7 in Philadelphia. Hold on, what did I just see? Nothing. All right, let's just take a peek at who they play next real quick. See if we can make sense of their next opponents. Soroka's 10-2. Soroka could become 10-3 on the 27 date as well. 103, the 27th prime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He'll likely face the Nationals next. Nationals don't have a 104 connection, do they? 105, yeah. All right. All right. Okay, the Phillies schedule. So Oh, that's also perfect because Arrieta will likely face the Giants next. So imagine if he's 9-7, 97 the 25th prime. Giants 25. So that could make some sense too. So I'm favoring the Phillies there. This Rays game, the Rays are the favorites on the road, but I think the Blue Jays are going to win this game here. And it's possible the Blue Jays even win the series because if the Rays win 1 and lose 2, they'll be 59-49. Toronto Blue Jays is 59, Blue Jays is 49. And notice this Diego Castillo, who's pitching today. With a loss, he'd be 5-9 and 1-7 on the season. Again, Toronto Blue Jays 59, 59 the 17th prime. So that looks pretty good. If Rays win 1 of 3, they will be 59-49. Again, Toronto Blue Jays equals 59, Blue Jays equals 49. Just thinking about the head-to-head records here too. The Blue Jays won. If the Blue Jays won 2 out of 3, they'd be 3-6 versus the Rays. And the Rays would be 6-3 against them. Toronto's 36, Rays is 63. So there's some good rhyme and reason to the Blue Jays taking the series here. And today makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, if the Blue Jays take the day, I think that will definitely happen. But this guy falling to 5-9 and 1-7, that'd be perfect. So that looks pretty good. The Yankees and the Red Sox, again, these 65 riddles have really hit with the Yankees pitchers. Today, Paxton comes in 5-5. Tomorrow, Sabathia comes in 5-5. Both of them can improve to 6-5. Now, to play devil's advocate, if Paxton lost, he'd be 3-1 versus Boston on the year. Boston does equal 31. And his next career loss is 32. Boston is also 32. So he could stay at 31 or he could get number 32. But man, that Yankees 65 riddle's been a good one this year. So it's hard to go against. Cashner's next career loss is 85. Boston 85, Red Sox 85. Doesn't have to come today. But notice he's at 55 wins. He could be 55-85. Boston, Massachusetts 55, Red Sox 85, Boston 85. So be a very Boston record if he lost. 9-5 on the season. Remember, he became 9-5 against his old team, Baltimore 95. If Cashner lost today, he would fall to 2-6. We know Yankees is 26 in the most pure cipher. It is also 35, though, if you want to be 3-5. So the Red Sox are 2-6 versus the Yankees this year. If they lost, they'd be 2-7. It is the 27 date. The way the 27 could go for the Red Sox today is they could get their 27th win versus the AL East. So make some notes about this. For the second day in a row, it's on MLBN. Again, that does equal 67. The Yankees didn't get the 67th win yesterday. And yesterday they had number 19 on the mound too, 67, the 19th prime. I forgot to mention that Paxton does wear the number 65 as well. The Yankees 65 riddles have really hit this year, so it's hard to go against, but it's not the clearest read in the world. Caller.
Hey, Zach, what's up? I'm listening to you. I like Boston. The reason why I'm going to tell you I'm going by the coaching record, ain't 45 related to 99?
If you write out 13, it equals 45 and 99.
Right. The Yankees coach got 98 losses, so if he lose today, that'd be 99.
Let me see. He's 166 and 98, right? Yeah. So why do you like him? Oh, you're saying because it's a 45 date numerology, so picking up the 99th loss on the 45 date?
I learned all this from you, and you was doing the coaching record at first when you started football, because I'm a Tom Brady fan. You used to diss Tom Brady, but I ain't mad. But I'm a Brady fan, and I used to do that, and I was winning in football.
Well, in football, I do use the coaching record. I do in football, and I use the manager records in the playoffs for baseball. It's just they burn me a lot in the regular season. So,
all right. So maybe what I'll do is, whatever I do at night, if you still up around, I'll give you a call and I'll show you. Like maybe we could discuss, and you probably could see something, and we probably could get this together.
Okay, but so it sounds like what you're doing is. You're looking at manager records in light of the date numerology and how the numbers relate to each other.
Yeah, that's how I've been winning lately. Yes, I just listen to what you're saying to try to get the coaching and all this Colorado equal this and that. But I just do the coaching record and that's it.
All right, I'm watching.
But this is the only reason why I win. I don't take everything though. Let me not lie to you. I'm speaking out loud. I don't see the game and I can't see the coach record. I just roll it away. It don't matter how much I win. I could bet $10 to win $200. I could bet. You understand? I just win. That's the goal to this.
Sure. All right. I'm gonna watch and see what you're saying about the coaching record. It sounds like you're onto something.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Zach. Thanks so much. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, you're welcome. Take care. Okay, so 99 in numerology breaks down to 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. And he's saying because the date numerology is primarily 9, he sees that manager's record can hit the 9 today. So that's what he's looking at. It's possible, but man, I've seen these Yankee 65 riddles hit so many times. Now, the other thing is Paxton could get a no decision. He could become 6 and 5 at a later date as well. Hold on, let me rewind to the last game real quick. I forgot to check the wait a minute, how many games are I need to go back to I need to make sure I get our National League and American League stats too. So let me go back to Braves and Phillies real quick. So NL East battle. All right, Atlanta 42-56 wins. 27-39 losses. I don't see anything crucial with that. Philly 38-47 wins. Their next win is 48. Atlanta's 48. 34, 45 losses. Okay, so next win's 48. I'm sure they'll get at least one. They very well could get it today. All right, and then Toronto. I like Toronto. That pitcher riddle is nice. Toronto and Tampa Bay. So Toronto versus the East. Well, there's one thing that could go against Toronto today. Again, the date numerology is not hot, but they could get their 27th loss versus the AL East. So let me just note that down. Toronto is 14-26 versus AL East 27 date. Okay. 28-37 wins. 44-54 losses. Tampa 24-23. They have 49 wins versus the AL. Blue Jays is 49. They got 43 losses. Okay. Well, I wish the date numerology riddle, even though it's not consistent, lined up more with Blue Jays. That's the only concern. But man, that pitcher riddle just makes too much sense. We've seen plenty of pitchers do the 5-9 thing, 59 thing with Toronto this year. So we just saw the Indians get their 59th win of the season over the Blue Jays. All right, Yankees and Red Sox. Let's see their AL stuff. Do I already have this written down? Hold on. Yankees are 34-12 versus the East. Well, so what the caller was saying about Boone picking up his 99th loss, if it is today, could be tomorrow as well or Sunday, but just notice that 99th loss is also going to come with the 13th loss in the East. When you write out 13, it equals 45 and 99. Today does have the 45 date numerology. What was it about Boone real quick? So it's 139 days after Boone's birthday. That's the 34th prime. Yankees have 34 wins versus AL East. Maybe they have. Yesterday was his 139th day of his age. They stayed on the 34. Today's 139 days after. They could stay on the 34. Maybe they got to get past that to get the next win. 48. So 57 wins versus the AL. 30 losses. The next loss is 31. If they lost two more, it'd be 32. That's tricky because Boston's 31 and 32. Let me write that down. Yankees are 57-30 versus AL. Let me also make this note. Yankees are 34-12 versus AL East. 13 equals 45. 45 date. And then Boston. Boston could get their 20. We talked about that. They got their 26th win on the 26th date. Could they get the 27th on the 27 date? Caller?
Hey, is Boone at 166 also? Because I was noticing some other things 13.
Yeah, he has where's his record at? Hold on. Where did I write it down?
Because if it's 166, that's also 13. And so as you were mentioning with the right now 13 is also 117 reverse ordinal, which is like 27 in numerology. So today it seems like the magic number sync for the 13 to happen because it's 9945 and the 117. So all of these base ciphers are in effect for it.
Yeah, it's very possible. It's very possible.
It's very odd that his record then is 166 and other 13. So, but yeah, I just want to point that out. I think I'm on the Red Sox today.
Yeah, my biggest concern is just Paxton becoming 6-5, but it's also possible he gets a no decision and does it at a later date.
Well, he could also get the loss, and it would be 5-6, which is just a reflection of it.
It's true. The reflection, I've noticed the reflections haven't been hitting like they were at the beginning of the year. But it is still possible. So.
Well, plus also you have there the core is 165, so that's like another 65 sync with it as well.
This is true. Yeah, they could both be at 166 wins.
So yeah, I'll let you get back to it, but I was just thinking about that because when you brought up 13, it has all these things. Oh, last thing before I forget. You'll want to look into the NF thing a little bit more. So yesterday I brought up it had the overlap in two of the day numerologies. I noticed it actually has.
What did you say? One. The what thing? The what thing?
So the guy who is like the wax my balls story.
Oh, okay.
It came out yesterday night, or well, at some point during yesterday, on the day where it had all of the day numerology line up with the gematria for the word Yanis, his last name. And it came out that he was actually distributed or sending child pornography to people who were like 14 years old. So the yesterday was definitely interesting overlap for that story, I feel.
Okay, I got to look that one up.
Yeah, I'll put in the chat the link to the story.
Okay, thanks, man.
All right, thanks.
All right, see you. The only other thing I could say about Cashner today is if he did win, he'd get his first win with Boston. He's 0-2 with the Red Sox. If he won, he'd be 1-2. Bit like 12. Yankees is also 37, the 12th prime. But yeah, I think I am in agreement with the callers that a little bit more lines up for Boston today. I just worry about Paxton here, man, because those 6 and 5s, they've been coming through for the Yankees. So, and again, he wears number 65. But because the Red Sox won Game 1, they took the date numerology onto their side. Again, date numerology hasn't been consistent, but remember, had the Red Sox lost yesterday, they would have picked up their 26th home loss on the 26th date. Today, they could be looking at the 27, but it's not that way now. Now the Red Sox have 26 wins versus the AL. They could get the 27, the 27th on the 27 date. And you know what? We were talking about how all the date numerology breaks down to 9 today. I guess 27 is obviously 9, but I was just thinking, okay, they're on 23 losses as well, which is the 9th prime. So Yankees should lose at least one more in the series. They could potentially lose 2 more. If they split today and tomorrow, the Red Sox would be 3-7 versus the Yankees. And Yankees is also 37. Let me look real quick at what Sabathia is. Sabathia is who pitches tomorrow. He has a chance to become 6 and 5 as well. I want to see what his splits are with Boston. 255. Oh, he's on 85 losses too. So if he didn't lose tomorrow, he'd stay at 85 losses while with the Yankees. Get Boston 85, Red Sox 85. Let's see what his record is against Boston. Okay, Sabathia. Let's see, Red Sox. 18 and 14 versus the Red Sox. 33rd game. 44th start. The Yankees and Boston, I'm sure they play again this year. Him finishing on 19 wins with Boston would be symbolic. 2019, he's retiring this year. You know, now that I think about that, if the Yankees didn't win today and Sabathia got his 19th win against Boston tomorrow, it would also be the Yankees' 67th win of the season, 67, the 19th prime. So it could be that way. Let me just make a note about that. If Yankees don't win today, Sabathia can get 19th win versus Boston all-time tomorrow, and Yankees could get 67th win a season, 67, 19th prime. Okay, so how does ESPN earlier this morning had Andrew Cashner as 9-3, or excuse me, 9-5. He was 9-3 with Baltimore, and now he's 0-2 with the Red Sox. So they changed his stats back to what he was with Baltimore. But I know this morning, what they were doing with the pitchers earlier was just the pitchers who'd been traded. They'd just been showing their season record with their new team. Today was the first day I noticed that Cashner was 9-5, but now they've changed it to 9-3. What are they doing with that? He is really 9-5 if you take his Baltimore record and his Red Sox record. So let's see here. Yeah, I still think that game's dangerous because of Paxton, but I think there is a little bit more for the Sox. Okay, the Pirates and the Mets. If Wheeler lost today, he would be 6-7. Pittsburgh is 67. So that's something that jumps out right away. Actually, hold on. I want to go look at one more thing with the Yankees and Red Sox real quick. I want to go back and see who Paxton's going to face next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, he's going to face the Red Sox again. Nice. Yeah, so Sabathia, he'll have plenty more opportunities against Boston, too. And what about Cashner? Oh, well, Cashner will face the Yankees next. Make sure I'm not missing something with their... Where was that game at? That's going to be in New York. Yankee Stadium. Red Sox. Today's the 2,203rd game all time between the Yankees and Red Sox. Kind of like 2-2-3, 48th prime. I just know Fenway Park's 48. New York's 48 too. Okay. All right. Pirates Mets, moving on. Wheeler, what does stand out is if he lost, he would be 6-7. Pittsburgh 67. Wheeler's pitching 57 days after his birthday, that big Mets number. But as I pointed out, it seems that a lot of times when the birthday lines up with the number that corresponds with a team, it's actually that team that loses. And I was just pointing that out the other day with the Pirates game. It was 88 days after the Pirates pitcher's birthday. Pirates is 88, and they lost. And pointed it out other times too. So starting to think that that is more, it's not always that way, but I'm thinking that that's the more consistent side of the pattern. So is 747 prime? It's the 747th game. It's not. Okay, 747. This is the first game between these teams in 2019. Last year, the Mets were 3-4 versus the Pirates and 1-2 at home. Of course, Pirates is 34. Mets is also 12. So there's some rhyme and reason to those records. Agrizal doesn't have a lot to go off of. I guess we can look real quick at the National League records here. The Mets versus the Central, 7-14. 40 wins versus the NL, 38, 51 losses. 40-51. Mets is 51. I don't see any clear connection. If the Mets won all 3 games, they could get to 43. Pirates is 43, but the Mets don't sweep teams very often. The Pirates did just get swept at home by St. Louis, so hard to say what kind of momentum they have going right now. Pittsburgh 7-9 versus the East. 26-36 wins. 36-52 losses. If they swept, they could get to 39 wins. New York's 39. They did have a winning record in New York last year. Let's look at their schedules here. Mets schedule. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the Mets are likely to play at the White Sox next. White Sox does have Gematria 67. We know about the 77 riddles with Chicago divided into 77 neighborhood areas. So win or lose, he could have a chance to get to 7-7 in there. But again, if he loses today, he's 6-7 and Pittsburgh 67. Caller?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
What's up?
Hey, I think today is the 231st year of New York being the 11th state.
You're right. It is their birthday today. That is right.
Yeah, so I think they might.
You thinking the New York teams might play well because it's their birthday?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just seeing that, you know, they might get that done.
That's a great
I think
observation.
it's, 231 is the 21st triangle. I don't know if that means anything with the game because I haven't been keeping up with all the stats and stuff, but you know what I'm saying? I was just throwing that out there.
You're
and
right.
65, that's a big, 65 is a big number for New York in general this year.
Sure.
Like you were saying something about 65.
New York Yankees is 65. That number keeps hitting for them this year.
Yeah. So, you know, 6 plus 5 is 11. You know, they have the 11th state.
Right.
So,
yeah, I'm glad you reminded me of that. It's not only New York's birthday, but it's also George Clinton's birthday, the first governor of the state too. So yeah, this is it. Last year on this date, ESPN started a 39-day countdown to September 3rd, the day that First Take was moving to New York. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's another little riddle right there, man. So, yeah, man, it's looking, it was, you know, like they got smoked yesterday. So I'm like, yeah, they might win today.
Come back with a vengeance.
And Boston is, come back with a vengeance. And what is Boston? Boston, what are they? 10 games over 500 or 9?
They are. Well, yeah, they're 10 games over 500. That's right. So that I see what you're saying. If they lost, they'd be 9 games over 500.
Yeah, and then it'd be like that 9-11 kind of deal.
If the Yankees won, they'd be 31 games over 500, the 11th prime.
Ew, yeah, see?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's their birthday of being the 11th state.
Yeah, it is New York's birthday. You are right on about that.
Yeah, man, I've been doing a lot of, you know, doing the Yankees for a couple of months now. So, I think they're going to represent the American League. I called you maybe like, I don't know, that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. We talked.
Right. I agree with you about the Yankees.
Yeah, man. That's all I wanted, man.
All right.
You live?
What's that?
You live?
Yeah, we're doing the live stream right now.
Oh, okay. That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, man.
All right, appreciate it.
My G.
All right, thanks.
Yo.
Well, that was a good call. I forgot that today was New York's birthday, and it is. And it was a year ago that First Take did that 39-day countdown to September 3rd. I said, look at that, man. They're just putting the numbers right in your face. Who starts a 39-day countdown? And they didn't mention that it was New York's birthday either when they did it. Games over 500. God, there's just so many things to think about. But that's why we do it, man. We're going to keep doing it until we figure it out. Because, I mean, right now we're still missing a big piece of the pie. That's why things are not good as they should be. But, yeah, I'm still going to rate that Yankees-Red Sox game as dangerous because there's riddles going both ways. And, you know, but the New York birthday thing, that is definitely something to think about. Could both New York teams win on New York's birthday? The riddle, though, the you know what? As I say that, if you use the rule, Pittsburgh is also 76. It's 67 and 76. So I should think more about that. But I have just noticed how pitchers, when their birthdays keep lining up with a team name, that team is the one that's losing more often than not. But God, maybe since it's New York's birthday, maybe it's different. Glad you reminded us of that. That could be crucial. Okay. Wheeler's facing number 67 too. If he didn't win, he'd stay at 39 wins in New York. Egresol. For Egresol, it's also his 211th day of his age, 211, 47th prime. Pirates' next win is 47. The Pirates' next away win is 24 as well. Mets is 24, so that's very likely that they'll pick up 24 in the series. Doesn't have to come today. Their next loss is also 57. I guess I should have thought about that more with the Pirates, too. I've talked about how many teams come in one number off the opponent. So the Pirates just got swept by the Cardinals and now come one off from their 57th loss. Yeah. Both New York teams are favorites on this day. Look at who the Pirates will play in 5 days. One, two, three, four, five. The Reds. Well, there's not anything clear with that pitcher facing the Reds. Color?
Hey, Zach. How's it going, Zach?
It's going all right, man. What's up?
Hey, the Red Sox Yankees game. This is some numbers I'm going to throw out there. I don't know. Boston notches the most lopsided win in the 117-year history of the Flyers. So look at that.
Yesterday's win was the most lopsided win ever, 19-3?
Yeah, 117 years.
Okay.
Also, 8 different Red Sox players have multiple RBIs, with ties to check a franchise record. It's the first time they've done that since 1953.
Huh. Okay, so 19, the 8th prime, 8 guys with RBIs, okay.
And 8 different Red Sox had multiple hits, including players who did not. Michael Chad. So,
Izzy, call me back because the signal's broken up. It's chopped. Izzy, call me back. Call me back because the signal's choppy in and out. So call me back. Okay. All right, let's see. He's calling back. All right, let's try that.
Since became official in 1913, Tanaka 12 earned runs are the most ever by any Yankees pitcher against the Red Sox.
Okay. Yankees 37, the 12th prime, okay.
And one last thing. I noticed NFL, 5 players, 3 main players are holding out. In betting, there's such thing as a recency bias, which last season, we remember LeVar Bell. He held out for the whole season.
Right.
So imagine if you're a sports bettor and you want to do a future on a sports team, and the main star player is holding out. Will you take that bet?
On the team where their star player's holding out?
Yes.
Probably not.
Exactly. So, one of the players that is holding out is Michael Thomas, which is you pick the team, the New Orleans team. It's holding out. So, and there are 8-1 to win the Super Bowl. They still are. So, other players are holding out. Zeke Elliott. He's not
their main star player, but I mean, yeah, he's a significant part of the team.
Yes. Also, Melvin Gordon from the Chargers. So some of the teams you might want to look out. And sports tip for all those people who put future bets like that to win the Super Bowl. don't have to. You don't have to. They don't have to win the Super Bowl. As long as they make it to the Super Bowl, you can always head and make a little bit money back. The bottom line is making some money back. So if they make it to a Super Bowl, that's good enough. So you can always head if they make it to a Super Bowl.
Sure. That's interesting about Melvin Gordon and the Chargers, because when I think of the Chargers and the Saints, I think of Drew Brees. So.
But that's all I got.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, Izzy.
All right. Bye.
Okay. All right. So New York. It is their birthday. That's something to consider today. It makes me not really want to mess with those games, because in both games, the riddle is seemingly a little bit better for the team going against New York. But the fact that it's New York's birthday. Here, I got to check something real quick. Let's do this. July 26, 2018 MLB box scores. Should be able to pull this up right here. Let's see what happened last year on the birthday. The Mets beat the Pirates last year. How about that? The Yankees beat the Royals. Okay, so both New York teams won last year on the birthday. Let's go 2017. Hold on. I got to look more at this Mets-Pirates game. What if it was similar pitcher matchup? No, it was Mott's on the mound last year. Pirates didn't have Eggersall going last year. Kingham. Okay, hold on. Let's go July 26, 2017. Yankees beat the Reds that day. Where's the Mets at? Yankees beat the Reds. Where's the Mets? The Mets lost that day. All right. So we had the Yankees. Yankees have won the last 2 years. Mets, though, did play the same team last year, though. That counts for something. Mets lost in 2016, and New York Yankees, where are they at? Oh, wait a minute. What's going on here? The Mets had a doubleheader that day. They won one and they lost one. And the Yankees won that day. Yankees beat the Astros. Okay. All right, so the Mets are 50-50 on that day. The Yankees are flawless so far. All right, Mets won in 2015 on New York's birthday. They got a winning record now. The Yankees beat the Twins. Uh-oh. Seeing a trend here with the Yankees. Let's see. Going back to 2014, let's see if we can find a day where the Yankees lost. The Mets lost to the Brewers that day. Did the Yankees not play? Am I not seeing the Yankees here? Oh, the Yankees lost too. Interesting. The Yankees and the Mets lost in 2014 on New York's birthday. So 5 years ago. Let's try 2013. Right. The Yankees lost that year, and the Mets lost that year. Well, the Mets had a doubleheader actually that day. They won and lost. All right. Let's go 2012. Mets won. And the Yankees didn't play. Oh, it was a Thursday. Yeah, Thursday's the... Let's try one more. Let's go back to 2011. New York, the 11th state. Let's see what happened that year. Mets beat the Reds. Yankees beat the Mariners. Makes sense in 2011. (2010) Yankees win. Mets didn't play. Must have been a Monday. Yeah. Well, they do have winning records on this day. 2009. Let's see. Last one we'll check here. Actually, we'll look one more because it was 11 years ago. Nets beat the Astros. Yankees beat the Athletics. So both New York teams won. And let's look at 8 years ago. I guess this is the easy way to do it. Yankees beat the Red Sox 11 years ago. And the Mets lost to the Cardinals. That was 11 years ago. Okay. And again, just for review, last year, you had the Mets beat the Pirates a year ago, and the Yankees beat the Royals. You know, if the Mets won today, they would get their 48th win of the season. New York does equal 48. It is New York's birthday, and birthday's 48 too, now that I think about it. Birthday's 48. I got to make a note about that. All right, so that is interesting. Last year, Mets beat Pirates 12-6 on this same day, July 26th. And the Yankees won 2 last year on July 26th. Okay. There's still some things that concern me about both these games, but yeah, it still does seem that a little bit more lines up for the opponents of both the Mets and the Pirates to me. But yeah, this New York birthday, there was only 1 year that we just checked in the last 11 years where both teams lost on New York's birthday. So the Diamondbacks and Marlins game, let's see here. Arizona is 105, if I am not mistaken. Let me double check that. Arizona's 105. So if Greinke lost, he would fall to 10-5. He's 7-1 versus the Marlins. He's dominated this team. Alcantara with a win could improve to 5-9. Miami Marlins is I took Miami for it. Miami Marlins is 59. The Marlins' next loss to the Diamondbacks is 86. Marlins is 86. If the Marlins won, they'd even up the series at 39-39 at home. Arizona's 39, so some symbolism in that number. This is the first game of 2019. But the things that jump out is Greinke with the loss is 10-5. Arizona's 105. And Alcantara with the wins 5-9. Miami Marlins is 59. And, God, Arizona's quite a favorite because Greinke's on the mound. Greinke has really dominated the Marlins. Is there any kind of rhyme and reason with him falling to 7-1? Marlins. Let's look at the National League stats a little bit more. If the Diamondbacks lost 2 in this series, they would get to 27 away losses. Miami's 27. Chicago just failed to get their 27th home win against Miami, but still is there. The Marlins only won 1 in the series. They'd get to 39 wins. Arizona's 39. It's another thought. So you can make an argument either way on that one. All right, let's look at the National League stats. Diamondbacks, 39 wins versus the NL. And the NL East, they're 10-7. 39 wins, 46 losses. 39-46 NL. I don't think that really goes with anything. If they won 2, they could get to 41. $39-46 and Diamondbacks. Marlins. 8-8 versus the West. 23-31 wins. 39-47 losses. Let's see who these pitchers face next. Marlins schedule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the Marlins will play the Twins next. And yeah, his record's not going to matter. What about Greinke? One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yankees. 5, 10-4. I don't see anything clear with that. Alcantara, how many career wins does he have? 6-12. 90s. I just thought about some of Greinke's wins. He's at 197. That's the 45th prime. It's a 45 date if he stayed there today. Make sure I'm not missing some 1, 2, 3 thing with the Marlins. 132. Well, you really can't make sense out of Greinke's record with a loss. 10-5 would have some rhyme and reason to it. Arizona is 105, and Alcantara with the win also makes sense. Miami Marlins 59. So I think Marlins have a decent shot at the upset here. They'd be a nice payout at home. Lines like that is where it starts to get a little bit dangerous, but the Marlins have won plenty of time. The Marlins often have bad lines against them. They've won plenty of times with lines like that and worse. Okay. I'm leaning Marlins in that one. Let me just make these notes down here too. If Marlins win one in series, they get 39th win. Arizona equals 39. It does also equal 42. They can't get there, so I'm not going to write it down. If D-backs lose 2 in series, They get 27 away losses. Miami's 27. But again, the White Sox just came one shy of that 27 number. All right, the Cubs and Brewers. Let me check the Brewers Stadium real quick. Brewers, what's the gematria on that? Miller Park, I know it's 115, 65, 52. All right. Chicago Cubs is 55 if the Brewers won 1. Wisconsin's 55. Look at my notes here. This Gio Gonzalez, he's missed some time. Let me see. Let me read a little bit. Or here, let's look at his game log. I guess he just came back July 20th. But he missed some time before that. So his team won the last game, but he didn't pitch very well. That was at Arizona. Today could be better. I'm missing something with the records. I don't see anything that jumps out at me about the pitcher records. Win or lose. Let's look at the NL stats. Cubs are 20-17 versus the Central. Milwaukee 25-20. Cubs are 47-40 versus the NL. 47-40. Brewers are 51-43. If they lost 2, they'd get to 45. Cubs is 45. Gonzalez's next loss is his 99th. Cubs is 9. Brewers is 99. If he lost, he'd be 4-4. Chicago is 44. Cubs would be a good team to get the 9th loss against. See who the Cubs play next. If Hendricks goes up against the Pirates next, let me see. No. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Cardinals. Cardinals got that 88 connection? Yeah, they do actually. The Cardinals got the 88 connection. Okay, so Hendricks will face the Cardinals next. St. Louis Cardinals is 88. So if he won, he'd go into that game 8-8. And Gonzalez. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Athletics. Well, you can make an argument either way with him. He'll likely face Oakland next. Oakland's 22 in the most pure cipher. If you use the rule for K, it's 31. 22 is probably a little bit better. Hendricks, yeah, it's just the no decision thing. But see, the game's on ESPN as well. ESPN equals 54 like baseball. To me, that's the more relevant network just because they began as an all baseball network. All right. Hendricks getting to 8-8 is the thing that stands out. He could get a no decision and do it against the Cardinals as well, but I think that might be the biggest clue. We see so many pitchers go into their next game on a record that corresponds with the team. Okay, the Twins and the White Sox. If Pineda lost, he'd be 6-6. White Sox is 66. And if C's won, he'd be 2-2. Twins is 22. And again, that would make the White Sox 3. 3-5 versus the Twins. Chicago's 35. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. The Twins' next loss versus the AL is number 35. Again, Chicago's 35. The White Sox have the date numerology going for them. They could get that 27th home win on the 27 date. Could make an argument that they could stay on 45 wins on the 45 day, but the date numerology is not real consistent right now. But the White Sox should win at least one game in this series. Go back and check something. Okay. If the Twins lose 2 in this series, they'd get to 42 losses. White Sox is also 42. That would have the White Sox at 47 wins. Minnesota's 47. Let me see who Pineda faces next. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll face the Royals next. Kansas City's 67. So if he lost, he would have a chance to become 6-7 versus Kansas City. Okay. He'd have to win 2 in a row to get to 8-5. Okay. Saw one Twins pitcher get to 8-5. The C's pitcher for the White Sox doesn't have much experience to go with, but his record would make a bit of sense if he was 2-2. Again, if the Twins do lose, the White Sox would be 3-5 against Minnesota. Chicago is 35. The game's in Chicago. So I think White Sox have a decent shot at the upset here today. So we talked about yesterday, things were a little bit better for Minnesota, and these teams splitting the first 2 games. If the White Sox did win from their perspective, they'd be 3-2 at home. Twins is also 32. But you could also argue from Minnesota's perspective, they could be 3-2 in Chicago. Yes, if the White Sox lost, they could be 22-22 versus the Central, and Twins is 22. Note that too. Doesn't have to be that way though. 37-41, 48, 59, 34. If the Twins did just lose one more, now you can make an argument either way. But if Pineda does lose, he would have a chance to fall to 6-7 against Kansas City, who he does face next, and White Sox does equal 66. So I think things are a bit better for the White Sox today, even though they're the underdog, even though their pitcher doesn't inspire much confidence, but he's a young guy. He's got potential. All right, let's see. Plesac and Junis. If the Royals lose 2 out of the next 3, we talked about if they lost 3 out of 4, they'd get to 67. They lost yesterday. If they lose 2 out of the remaining 3, they'll be at 67 losses. That's the overlap number. Kansas City and Cleveland Indians both 67. Don't think there's a connection to. Well, there is this connection. If Junis won today, he could become 7-8. Cleveland is 78. And on the flip side, if the Royals lose, they're 5-9 versus the Indians this year. Kansas City Royals is 59. We've seen that number show up a bunch with them. Just like how the Indians came into the series with 59 wins. And thinking that the Indians are likely going to win 2 of the next 3, means the odds are in their favor for each of these games until. Let me see. Who's pitching tomorrow for these teams? Clevenger goes tomorrow. Sparkman 3-6. And Howard 10-7. Duffy 4-5. Let's see, great clues in that. Okay. With regards to today being the 26th, don't forget that's the Yankees' big number on the New York birthday. You saw how they win they win a whole lot more than they lose on New York's birthday. We just saw that looking back at the last 11 years. I'm not missing something here with Royals. Junis. His name equals 68, and he's 6-8 on the season. 52. All right, let's look at the division stats here. (54-27). Royals is 27, isn't it? Yeah. All right, so Cleveland is 54-27 versus the AL, 29-18 versus the AL Central. Their next loss will be 19. Kansas City is 67, the 19th prime. Doesn't have to come today. Royals, 27, 34 wins. Indians is 34, 44, 60, 34 and 60. Whew. Man, it's amazing. What the most amazing thing to me this year is how many times I've looked at a pitcher gematria and it's lined up with a win or loss, and it's just made you go, okay, that's got to be the way it's going to go, and then it doesn't come through. But I can't help but notice that Zach Plesac is 40 in the most pure cipher, and the Royals' next win is 40. In the postseason, those things are money, but in the regular season, they're not. I am seeing Junis become 7-8 against Cleveland. Yesterday, the pitcher had that riddle going against him, but he got a no decision for Cleveland. His team still won. Pitchers are number 65. Both pitchers are number 65. The Royals are on 65 losses, too. Just I'm thinking that the Indians are going to win 2 of these next 3, so the odds are in their favor. On 65 losses, both starting pitchers are number 65. Well, if you're mixing up parlay cards, I'll let you think about this one, but the Royals don't pay a lot today, which is interesting. Could be baiting people to bet Cleveland. Seems like the Royals should be more of an underdog, but I think they do got a shot there today. Okay, the Astros and the Cardinals. So we had a caller earlier. He thinks the Cardinals are going to sweep the Astros, which is anything's possible. These are old division rivals, but now the Astros are in the AL. The 711th game, and the Cardinals lead 379-329 and 203-146 at home. Houston Astros is 147. Their next loss is 147. Doesn't have to come today. Let's look at the interleague play stats for these teams. Houston is 6-7 versus the NL. They have a losing record. Houston equals 67. So if they won, they'd even it up at 7-7. And the Cardinals are also 6-7 versus the AL. Nice. Doesn't make things easy. If somebody could get to 9-7, 97 is the 25th prime. St. Louis is 25. Caller earlier likes the caller earlier. His prediction is that Schilt will not get his 76th loss until the 76th date numerology, which is 4 days after today. Let's see who they play on that date. If it's a team with 76 Gematria, that would be interesting. Cubs. Oh, you know what? The date numerology is going to go off. It's not going to have 76 date numerology that day because the month will end July 31st. And that'll be a date with 75 numerology. So we couldn't close out the month on 75 losses. But then August 1st will be 9, 28, 48 date numerology. It's the Cubs. Okay. Well, that makes things tricky that either team can become 7-7 in interleague play because that's a Houston number. If Schilt didn't lose versus the Astros, he would stay on 75 losses. Houston Astros is 75. If he picked up 2 losses in the series, he could get to 77. Houston 77. So Astros haven't been playing as well post All-Star break. Check something out here. Astros. Busch Stadium is 76 as well. Busch Stadium 76. If he got his 76th loss there. If Flaherty lost, he would be 4-7. St. Louis is 47. Caller?
Yo, Jack, you talking about the St. Louis game. I'm over here looking. It could go either way today. You might have a 6 point because
You're really quiet. You're really quiet. Is there any way you can boost your volume?
Gotcha. Yeah, I said I was looking at the Houston and St. Louis. You might be right because 7 plus 26 is 33, and you know the sums. You know the sum of it. You know how it got the sum and the dividers of it.
Right. 33 breaks down to 6.
No, it makes 48. It sums to equals of 48.
What equals 48?
You know the dividers and the sum. Like
the divisors of 33 add up to 48. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I'm learning that. That's what I've been doing too. I wanted to tell you that I use the dividers and I use the sum. Like 72, that it only goes into 1 and 71. That's why if the Braves lose to the Cubs, if the Braves lose to Philly today, they'll be 271.
Okay.
You see where I'm going? Then 45 numerology, it sums to 78. 27 sums to 40. 52 sums to 98. 33 sums to 48.
Okay, divisors. Divisors of the number. Okay, I'm following you.
And you might be right. Houston might pick up. This thing could be trigger day. If Houston wins, if St. Louis wins, they'll win probably the next one and then lose the next one, like you said. You might be right, or lose 2 out of 3. I don't know, but I see what you're saying. I'm actually looking at it very closely.
If Flaherty loses today, he'd be 4-7, and St. Louis is 47.
Yeah, then look, St. Louis lead and 379 wins, and they got 329 losses all time. So if St. Louis loses, they'll have 83 losses.
I see.
all time. Yeah, this one is tricky right here. This one is real tricky. I'm gonna let you get back. I'm focused. I'm just paying attention. That's all.
Okay, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks, man.
Okay. So he's getting mathematical. He's saying if the Cardinals picked up their 330th loss, it looks like 33. And if you take the numbers that divide into 33, which are 1, 3, 11, 33, and you add them together, it equals 48. They'd get their 48th loss on the season. Now, that could happen tomorrow or Sunday. But this one is tough because either team can become 7-7 in interleague play, Houston, but Flaherty falling to 4-7 in St. Louis. To me, that has some rhyme and reason to it. So I'm leaning Astros because of that. I think that and Schill getting his 76th loss, maybe that's what it was about. He had to wait till he got back to Busch Stadium 76. And if he lost 2 in the series, he would pick up his 77th loss, Houston 77. And if he only won 1 in the series while in St. Louis, he'd be 97-77. 97, the 25th prime. St. Louis also 25. So I think Astros winning 2 out of 3 might make a little bit more sense. And here, let's take a peek at who pitches tomorrow. All right, so this Ponce de Leon doesn't have a lot of experience, unfortunately. Garrett Cole, well, he's been pitching well this year. How about Sunday? Wade Miley. He got to 9-4. 94 has that relationship with 147, but I saw that a few games ago at the Astros. It didn't pan out that way. Houston Astros is 147. I wonder if Dakota Hudson will end up being 11-5 this year. Remember, St. Louis equals 115, the only city with the alphabetic order that sums to 115. Probably likely. Okay, but yeah, Flaherty falling to 4-7 in St. Louis. I think that's the biggest clue in this game, in my opinion. So. Okay, well, the Orioles screwed up my whole vision with the Angels series. Man, yesterday was like the most perfect day to get the 55th win, too. I still can't believe that game. This Wojciechowski, however you say his name, he should lose today. Angels is 58, Baltimore's 58. He should become 5-8 in his career. And LA is also 14. He could become 1-4 for the season. So I think that's it right there. The Angels can no longer pick up their 58th win versus Baltimore by sweeping the series, but the 5-8 thing can happen today. So I'm going to take the Angels again. 58 really has just hit and hit and hit again with the Angels. And obviously they will pick up their 58th win this season. I just thought it would make sense to do it in a big sweep, doing it over the 58 team Baltimore. So Angels is 32 as well. So the Angels could improve to 3-2 on the season against Baltimore. But yeah, I'm not going to overthink that one. I like the Angels again today. The Rangers and the Athletics, Lance Lynn can do the prime number relationship thing with his record, 13-6. Oakland's 41, the 13th prime. He could also become 12-7, a bit like 127, the 31st prime. Oakland does have the 31 connection, but the Oakland 41-13 connection is stronger. So I think that is more likely route there. Mangden is 5-1 on the season. If he lost, he'd be 5-2. Texas Rangers is 52. It's 157 days after his birthday. The 37th prime. Rangers is 37. Today's 271 days after Melvin's birthday, the 58th prime. Oakland's 58. Yesterday, Oakland stayed on 58 wins. Yesterday was his 271st day of his age. So now I'm wondering if maybe today, because it's 271 days after the 58th prime, he stays on 58 again. Caller?
Hey, what's up, Zach? I
What's
can
up?
keep you long. Just a little observation I've been noticing. On the later games, on your earlier picks, I don't know. I don't have any numbers to back up my statements, but it seems like you have more success in the earlier games.
I knew you were going to say that, and you're right. I notice a lot of times it's the late games that end up going sideways.
Right. Last night I got home from work and everything, and I'm like, damn, there's still a game on. It didn't end until 3:30 my time. I'm in Virginia, so that's what 12:30 your time. So I was thinking maybe not just doing for maybe the later games. There might have to be another Decode for maybe the next day for that date as well.
Because the date numerology goes into the next day?
Right. Maybe they're doing it when the result of the game is
Eastern Standard Time.
6 to 3, and on this day when it ended, maybe they're doing it by the day it ended. Maybe, I don't know.
According to Eastern Standard Time, sometimes I wonder about that too. But your observation.
It was 12:30 your time too when it ended.
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because that game was crazy, right? But
yeah. Pujols threw it. You watched it?
I didn't see it. What did he do?
He dropped a third out to keep the Orioles still in the inning, and then he missed a key ground ball for them to take the lead.
Something else, man.
Yeah, people don't believe until they live that and actually watch the game together.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But I just wanted to throw that out there. I didn't want to keep you long.
Well, I do appreciate it, and your observation is correct. I've noticed the same thing. So, all right, thanks, man.
All right. Cool. All right, thanks.
But I'm still going to keep doing all the games. But I have seen the same pattern. It's true about a lot of days. I just said that yesterday at the beginning of last stream. I said, well, the day games were good, but then the night games went sideways on us. The Mariners came through yesterday. But yeah. The Angels sure didn't, man. I'm still kind of shocked about that Angels game. Okay, so the A's are 6-4 versus the Rangers this year. What's tricky about that is we have a 74 and a 56 connection through the teams. Here, I'll just do it this way. Texas Rangers is 74, so they could become 7-4. But the Athletics, they are 56 and 65, and that could be the record from either team's perspective, 5-6 or 6-5. So it's kind of a wash. If the A's did win at home, though, they would become 4-1, and then there's that Oakland 41 thing again. So Rangers do have the date numerology going in their favor. They could get the 45th win against the AL on the 45 date. Major League's 45. We talked about yesterday how if the A's lost only one game, they would be at 46 losses. So they'd have to win 3 in a row to do it. But Rangers is 46. So there's some different ways to look at this. But it seems to me that through the pitchers, things look a little bit better for the Rangers today. I guess I'll write down these notes here, too, that I just said. But even though it's pretty much a wash. Oakland Athletics equals 65-56. Texas Rangers equals 74. So the pitchers look better for the Rangers. The date numerology's been hit and miss, but it did track for yesterday. The Rangers picked up the 44th win in the AL on the 44 date. They could get 45 on the 45 date. Caller?
Hey, Zach. The only thing I want to ask you, I like Texas too because the Oakland A's coach, he has 645 losses. So does he stay or does he lose? Because sometimes it stays there.
Sure, Well, I'm surprised you're saying that because I thought that was your rule, that you're looking at the later numbers in the coach's record and you're syncing that up with the date numerology. So I would think that based on what you said to me before when you called in, that you'd be thinking that Melvin would stay on 645 losses on the 45 date numerology and then pick up 40.
Sometimes, yeah, but sometimes they stay, sometimes they lose.
Sure.
That's what I'm noticing.
Sure. Yeah. Staying on a number is not consistent. So,
okay.
But I see what you're saying. So if the A's won tomorrow, you would like him to lose tomorrow to pick up 46 on the 46th day.
Yeah. Either way, I'm trying to learn it because I'm trying to see. Because one time they stayed on a number, and I was like, wow, why did they move? And then the next day they lost, like you said. So I'm trying to, before I pick Texas, is that a good pick? So I'm looking at the picture, and it sounds good.
Well, I don't think this is a safe game, honestly, because the thing that scares me the most about the A's winning is they would be 4-1 at home with the win, and Oakland is 41, and I see that number show up all the time with them. So,
all right, so just stay away from it for today and see what happens for today and pick tomorrow.
Right. If it wasn't for that 4-1 thing, I'd be on the Rangers, but the 4-1 at home is worrisome to me. So.
All right, cool, Zach. All right.
All right.
Thank you, bro.
All right, welcome.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all right. Take care. Okay. And so far, since he made that point, I have been observing it. And, I mean, baseball, just so many things are hit and miss, but it seems like that's been hit and miss too. Baseball's by far the hardest of the sports to decode until you get to the postseason. Until you get to the postseason. If you were here for the postseason last year, we dominated the postseason. So, let's see. Giants and Padres. California's 88. Let's see. San Diego Padres is, hold on. Let me check something out here. Does Padres have a 79 connection? Yeah, San Diego Padres is 79. We just had a recent Padres 79 ritual. All right, so let's see. San Diego Padres 79 could become 7-9 on season. Okay, Samardzija is also 9-3 versus the Padres for his career. He's done very well against them. If he won, he'd be 10-3, kind of like 103, the 27th prime. Padres is 27. It is also a 27 date. Kind of fading the date numerology right now until I see it get on. But Lucchesi, if he lost, he'd be 7-6. San Francisco 76. It is Orange Friday. So let me look a little bit more at here. I'm gonna cheat and use the exceptions and see if Padres don't have a 88 connection too with the rules. Okay, they don't. California's 88. It is a California series. But Samardzija, you can make sense of his record with a win or loss. His season record would make more sense with a loss, but his all-time record versus the Padres could make some sense with a W. And Lucchesi, his season record also makes sense with a loss, becoming 7-6 against San Francisco 76. Whoops, I meant to write 5-7 versus Giants, not versus Padres. So the Padres are 5-7 versus the Giants. That means San Francisco is 7-5 versus the Padres. And if they lost, they would be 7-6. I noticed that if the Padres won 2 out of 3 in this series, they'd get to 25 home wins. We've seen how big the 25's been playing with the Giants this year. If the Giants didn't win on this Orange Friday, they would stay on 27 wins on the 27 date versus the Padres. Padres got that 27 connection. Should add that to the notes too. Home losses, away wins. Let's look a little bit more at the National League stats for these teams. So the Giants, they got 46 wins versus the NL. San Diego is 47. They got 44 losses, 46 and 44. And let me check if Padres has a 45 connection. I'm not sure about that. Whoops. No. Okay. What about the Padres record here? The Giants are on 27 wins versus the West, too. I guess I should note that. What were they, 27 and 24? Yeah, 27, 24 versus NL West. That means that if the Giants did lose today, even though the date numerology hasn't tracked well, if they lost today, they'd stay on those 27 away wins, and then it would set up the opportunity on the 28 date tomorrow for them to get their 28th away win and their 28th NL West win. And that's been good for – the only team I haven't seen do that when they have the opportunity so far has been the Mariners. The Mariners blew that opportunity probably about a week ago. Might have been last Saturday. I think it was last Saturday. All right, Padres, 22, 41 wins, 30, 51 losses, 41 and 51, and 19 and 21 versus the West. (41 and 52). If they won 2 more, they'd get to 43 wins. San Diego's 43. And again, if they did get 2, they'd also get to 25 home wins versus the Giants. So again, key things in this game. Samardzija makes sense with a win or loss, but his immediate season record would be perfect with a loss, becoming 7-9 against the San Diego Padres. Caller?
Sorry, Zach. Back to that Texas game. I know we were talking about shaky. You're right. Texas is going to win. With that picture from Oakland, he's 5-1, and the numerology's 52 today. He could go for his second loss. He could become 5-2.
And Texas Rangers is 52 as well, right?
Yeah, and Link could pick up his 13th win today, and 45 is the 13th prime, right?
Well, Oakland equals 41, the 13th prime. If you write out 13 as a word, it equals 45. 45 date numerology.
Okay. I like you, sir. I'm going with Texas. I like Texas because that picture, he's 5-1, and he could go 5-2. I don't see anything with him catching the 6th win.
Well, go with your guns, man. I do think the Rangers have the better riddle. The only thing I'm nervous about is the A's, that they could become 4-1 at home versus the Rangers this year. That's my only real concern. But I do think the Rangers are probably more likely to pull it out. So,
all right, yeah, and the Giants can shake it at me because the coach, he got a 1,027 wins and 1,020 losses. The Padre coach got 253 losses. 253 wins and 335 losses. So it's like it's shaky right now, that game.
Well, I agree. I agree. If Padres win the first game, I think they will. They'll probably win 2 out of 3 and get that 25th home win versus the Giants. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying too. I'm gonna stay away from that. I'm gonna stay away because when it's 60, it gotta become a blowout or close game.
Sure.
But when the price is 6. All right, thank you, bro. I just was paying attention to everything you was just doing. Thank you.
All right, welcome. See you. Okay. Next game, Tigers at Mariners. Again, there's a chance the Mariners win 3 out of 4 here because they would just have 33 home losses. Tigers 33. And with regards to today's game, if Norris lost, he'd be 2-9 on the season. That matters because Seattle. Or hold on. Actually, am I tripping on that? Maybe I'm wrong about that. Well, hold on. Maybe I'm wrong about what I was going to say. Never mind. Disregard what I was going to say. That's a mistake. Okay, hold on. Kikuchi's 4-7. We saw that happen. Seattle up on the 47th parallel. This is only the second game this year between these two teams. The one thing that could play for the Tigers is they could get their 26th win versus the AL on the 26th of the month, but then that would set them up for a pattern to win 3 in a row. I don't think that's going to happen. Let me see. I suppose if the Tigers won 2 of the remaining 3, they could get to 19 away wins. Seattle's 19. That's the other thing that could go here. This is a 4-game series. Seattle's next home win's 44. Detroit and Seattle are 44. Let me see who these guys pitch against next. That could be the big clue. Let's see. I'll go back and do that with the Giants game too here. I should have done that as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Angels. So Kikuchi will face the Angels next. Well, highly likely that he's 5-8. Wait a minute. Did I type in Tigers? Never mind. Hold on. I'm looking at the wrong team. The Tigers will play the Angels next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Norris is 2-8. Is there any record that could make sense with the Angels? Angel, the singular's 39. 14-25. Guess Norris could get his 26th loss, 26th of the month. Hold on, who do the Mariners play next? Mariners schedule today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Astros. Could make sense against the Astros. Was that in Houston? In Houston. So that's a likely loss. 4-7. If he lost today, he could go into Minute Maid Park 223, the 48th prime, with a record of 4-8. Let's see. He could fall to 4-8, or he could get a no decision and fall to 4-8 in Houston. It's 52 days after his birthday. Mariners 52. 12. Let me see some about Tigers. Tigers. Whose birthday? It was 39 days after Kikuchi's birthday. Tigers is 39. That's another thought. Who do they play after? Rangers. Rangers. The Rangers did win, or if the Mariners won 2 out of 3, they would go into the Rangers series 1 shy of 46. Rangers is 46. Tigers. And I think they play the Angels next. Angels, what could make sense? They lost 2 out of 3. They'd be at 70 losses, 1 off 71. LA Angels 71. They're going with 31 wins. Angels 31. Because I took the Mariners yesterday, I don't like taking the Mariners 2 days in a row because it's not very often that they win 2 games in a row. But they are playing the lowly Tigers. Yeah, there's reason to believe Kikuchi could lose, though. Yeah, all right, let's just go back over the games. There were some better games today. Let's go back and review everything. There were some games that I felt good about. The Rockies game. If Marquez loses, he'll be 9-6 on the season, and Cincinnati's 96. Castillo, if he won, he would be 10-3, a bit like 103, the 27th prime, 27 date numerology. So I like Marquez, though, becoming 9-6 in Cincinnati. That makes some sense. And perhaps the Reds only lose 1 in this series to get to 46 losses versus the NL. That's the overlap number. We saw that overlap number hit in a big way the last time these teams faced each other, Reds and Rockies, 46. So I like the riddle with Marquez, 9-6 in Cincinnati. And just for the guy out there from Cincinnati, he likes his home team this year because the Dalton alignment. What's interesting about the Super Bowl this year, just in light of all these cat themes in the offseason, still just speculating on things. The Bengals did start well last year. They got injured. Dalton equals 96. Cincinnati's 96. Dalton's birthday is 96 days from the Super Bowl this year. There's alignments like that every year, and teams don't make it to the Super Bowl, but that's something to keep in mind. That's the most interesting alignment I've seen with Dalton in the time I've been doing this study. But that is a big number in Cincinnati, and Marquez can become 9-6, so I'm leaning that way. The Dodgers and the Nationals. Sanchez is going to pitch against the Braves next. Braves is 67. If he lost today, he'd go into that Braves game 6-7. And again, we see how often pitchers do that. The other option is he could get a no decision and fall to 6-7 versus the Braves. But as much as teams go into the opponent with the right record, I'm thinking that that doesn't look good for the Nationals today. And we noticed that there's 2 scenarios here for either team to win 2 games. So I imagine whoever wins this game will probably win 2 games in the series. We'll evaluate that game by game. Sanchez could also stay on 103 career wins. That's the Nationals pitcher on the 103 date, 103 the 27th prime. And he could fall to 1-4 versus the Dodgers. LA's 13-14. Okay, Braves and Phillies. I like the Phillies here today. Arrieta can become 9-7. Philadelphia's 97. And Soroka could become 10-3, a bit like 103, the 27th prime on the 27 date. I don't want to give too much weight on the date numerology, but I'm just going to point it out. Arrieta will also likely face the Giants next. Again, 97, the 25th prime, Giants 25. He can become 9-7 like 97. Philadelphia 97. Very possible these teams split today and tomorrow. I could see the Phillies being 4-1 at home versus the Braves. Braves is 41. We'll look at more at that tomorrow. If the Braves only won 1 out of 3, they would be 61-45. Philadelphia 61, Phillies 45. So I'm thinking the Phillies are going to take this series here. And that would also keep the Phillies at 22 home losses. Braves is 22. So that's another thought about that. The Rays and the Blue Jays, I think the Blue Jays have a good chance to upset this game. Wasn't this line a lot bigger for the Rays earlier? Thought it was a lot bigger earlier. But anyway, I could have sworn it was like 170 earlier or something. But anyway. Hold on, let me take this call real quick. Hello? Okay, never mind. Thought it was something else. Okay. But the thing is, this pitcher for the Rays, if he loses today, his record's just too perfect. He'd be 5-9. Toronto Blue Jays is 59. He'd be 5-9 for his career, and he'd fall to 1-7 on the season, 59, the 17th prime. Also, it looks like the Blue Jays could win the series because if the Rays only won 1 out of 3, they'd be 59-49. Toronto Blue Jays 59, Blue Jays 49. You know what else? They'd get to 23 away losses as well. And Blue Jays is 23. That is a lot of things that line up. And if the Jays won 2 out of 3, they'd be 3-6 versus the Rays. Toronto's 36, Rays is 63. So the only scare for Toronto is right here. But again, I'm fading the date numerology because it's not very consistent right now. Toronto could get their 27th loss versus the AL East today on the 27 date. It's possible, but man, that pitcher riddle, this Diego Castillo, he is just too perfect with a loss, in my opinion. And I am liking the Blue Jays to win 2 out of 3. So winning game 1 goes a long ways towards that cause. Yankees and Red Sox, it is New York's birthday. We went back and looked at every New York and Mets game from now back to 2008, and we saw that the Yankees win a whole lot on this day. 11 years ago on this day, they beat the Red Sox. The Mets are hit and miss on this day, but there was plenty of days where the Yankees and Mets both did win on New York's birthday. A lot of times when one team wins, the other loses. Not always. But even still, I'm apprehensive about these games. James Paxton is number 65. He can become 6-5 on the season. New York Yankees 65. We've seen that riddle hit so much. I mean, that looks good right there for the Yankees. But you can make sense of Paxton's record with a loss today all-time versus the Red Sox. You can make sense of Cashner with a win or a loss. The Red Sox picked up their 26th win versus the AL East yesterday on the 26th date. Today they could pick up their 27th on the 27 date. It's possible that this series follows that pattern, but I don't think the Red Sox will sweep the Yankees. We saw that Sabathia pitches tomorrow. He's also 5-5, so if he won, he'd be 6-5, that New York Yankees number. He'd also get his 19th win all-time versus Boston. And if the Yankees didn't win today, you know, imagine that Sabathia pitches and wins tomorrow. They get their 67th win. Sabathia gets his 19th all-time win, 67, the 19th prime. So if the Red Sox split today and tomorrow, they'd be 26-26, those big Yankee numbers. But you know what? Something else just jumped out at me. Something just jumped out at me that I didn't see before. We talked about it with the Mets. New York's 48, so is birthday, right? Mets could get the 48th win on New York's birthday. Notice the Red Sox could get the 48th loss as well. I'm going to add a note about that. So The New York birthday thing has me it has me shy about these games because there's still plenty that lines up on both sides for the New York opponents, the Red Sox and the Pirates, to win today. The New Yorks did beat the Pirates good last year on this same day, July 26th. They beat them 12-6. Again, today is New York's birthday. In case you weren't here earlier, I pointed out that last year on this day, ESPN put up a countdown of 39 days until September 3rd. And the reason they did that is because First Take, their show, moved to New York on September 3rd. And sure enough, they started the countdown 39 days before on New York's birthday. But they didn't mention anything about the significance of 39 or July 26th. But it was that thing of putting numbers in front of people's faces. And most people just not having a clue. So in this Pirates-Mets game, Wheeler could become 6-7 or 7-6. That's tricky because Pittsburgh's 67 and 76. He is facing number 67. Agrizal, it's his 211th day of his age, the 47th prime. Pirates' next win is 47. They could pick up their 47th win on the perfect birthday alignment with him. They weren't able to get that 47 against St. Louis. Part of me is wondering if the Pirates might just win one in this series because their next away win's 24. Mets is 24. And so anyway, the New York birthday thing just has me, I mean, there was only 1 year that we looked at, if I remember correctly, in the last 11 years where both teams lost on New York's birthday. So that's another thing to consider. And it was 11 years ago, New York, the 11th state, that the Yankees beat Boston on this day. Caller?
Hey, so yesterday, what was interesting about that Orioles ended? So it ended in the 16th, and number 12 was pitching. He's a position player.
Oh, I saw that written in the thing today when I was looking at the box scores. The first position player to ever get a save.
Yeah, and if you put in the calculator position player pitching, which is something that the Cut 4 account, which is like the blog for MLB, what they like to do. So position player pitching is 127 in full reduction. They ended in the 16th inning, which is a reduction of 7, and it was number 12 pitching. You also had, I think it's like position player saves, so you can put position player as PP, which is like the normal abbreviation people use. So PP save is 25 full reduction. Yesterday was the 25th. And there were some other overlaps as well. So like history has 44 in Jewish reduction. Yesterday had a 44 in data numerology as well. And of course, it was actually a day where multiple games had position player pitching. There was one in the Yankee Red Sox game, and then there was 2 Pirates that came in that were position players because they were pitching. So there must have been some other kind of overlap that I'm not seeing, but yesterday was definitely one where there was something hinting at them doing this, and for them to have the first position player save since they started doing saves, I believe 1969, all ties in with how it happened. Because like normally you never see position player pitching at all, and for having 4 of them in the same day, that's extremely rare.
Sure. Well, I mean, it happens when the games go really long. That's usually when the position players come in to pitch.
Yeah, but it happened in cases like the Red Sox game where it wasn't extra innings because it was just blowouts. Same thing with the Pirates.
Sure, blowouts too. That's the other scenario, right?
But either way, I think there might have been something going on with like history references or things like that that I got to look into more. And so if you have time, just maybe give it a peek and see what you kind of come up with.
Okay. All right.
Thanks,
good
man.
observations. Thanks. Also, 16th inning, Los Angeles. What do we know about that? Los Angeles 53, the 16th prime. Hello, Super Bowl 53. So anyway, the New York games, man, they make me anxious today. I'll be surprised if they both lose, but I won't be surprised if they both win, even though they have riddles stacked against them. Okay. Diamondbacks and Marlins. Could be an upset here. Marlins are big underdogs at home, but what happened here? There's reason to believe the Marlins could get the upset. If Greinke loses, he'll be 10-5 on the season. Arizona's 105. He is dominant against the Marlins, though. He is 7-0 versus the Marlins. Got to keep that in mind. It's flawless against them. He's at 197 wins, which is the 45th prime. It is a 45 date if he stayed there. Alcantara, he's 4-9 on the season. Marlins is 49. Miami Marlins is 59. Their name's a lot like Blue Jays. But he could improve to 5-9. So that stands out. So both pitchers' records make sense with the Marlins upset. And if the Marlins did win, they'd be 39-39 at home against Arizona. Arizona's 39, so I see some symbolism in that. The Marlins really struggled versus the D-backs last year. They were 1-6 versus the Diamondbacks. 1-3 at home. That was last year, though. If the Marlins only won one in this series, if they went 1-2, they would have 39 wins. Arizona's 39. And the other possible scenarios that the Diamondbacks lost to, they'd get to 27 away losses. Miami's 27. Let me just take a peek at the pitching matchups. Okay, so Alex Young versus Yamamoto. So if he loses tomorrow, he's 4-2, right? Arizona's 42, Diamondbacks 42. He just became 4-1 versus LA. So his record just right away stands out with a loss. And hard to have any confidence in this guy. So anyway, what I'm saying is it does look like the Marlins are going to win one game, and I would say today's game looks like they are going up against Greinke, but the numbers are there for today. So the numbers are there. And it looks like the money's going on Arizona because that just climbed a little bit higher the line in Arizona's favor. Make sure I didn't miss anything with Miami Marlins. 85, 131. The Diamondbacks swept. They could get to 32 away wins. Miami Marlins 131, the 32nd prime. But I'm thinking the Marlins pull out at least one game here. Tomorrow doesn't look good. Sunday doesn't look good. Okay. And Alcantara actually pitched in the All-Star game. Probably had the worst record of pitchers for All-Star. I think in the All-Star game, you have to have one player from each team, right? The Cubs and the Brewers. Hendricks, if he won, he would be 8-8. He will face the St. Louis Cardinals next. St. Louis Cardinals does equal 88. If he wins, he'd go in with a good record. If he got a no decision, he could go in with a chance to become 8-8. So that's always the tough thing about that. But I didn't see any smoldering clues in this one. The game is on ESPN. If the Brewers didn't win today, they'd stay on 54. ESPN and baseball both 54. Again, ESPN began as a baseball network. Gonzalez for the Brewers. If he did lose today, he would get his 99th loss. Cubs is 9. And Illinois is 99 too. Brewers is 99. I guess I'll add Illinois onto the list. Not as important. But they could be a fitting team for him to get his 99th career loss against. So that's about all I can say about that. Not crazy about the game, but probably the most standout thing to me. Gonzalez getting his 99th loss against the 9 team, and then Hendricks possibly going into the Cardinals game 8-8. So Twins and White Sox. White Sox are pretty big underdogs at home. Pineda with a loss could fall to 6-6. White Sox is 66. Notice he's 46-46. Chicago's 46, so that's tough. Pineda will likely face Kansas City next. If he did lose, he'd be 6-6 with a chance to go 6-7 against Kansas City. See how that Kansas City 67 connection works. If he did win, he'd be 7-5 with a chance to get to 8-5. Twins is 85, not out of the question either. The White Sox are 2-5 versus the Twins this year. If they won, they'd be 3-5. Chicago's 35. The next loss for the Twins is their 35th versus the AL. So losing one in this series does make some sense. And the White Sox, they do have the date numerology lining up for them today. They could get their 27th home win on the 27 date, but again, the date numerology is not real consistent right now. Let me just take a peek ahead at the pitchers for this series too and just make sure there's not something that jumps out. Nova's 5-9. Martin Perez, if he lost, would be 8-4. Minnesota Twins is 84. And I forget, does White Sox have the 84 connection too? No, it's got the 93 connection actually. So he could become 9-3 against the White Sox. So that's actually tough. Can make an argument out of that either way. And what about Sunday? Kobe. Kyle Gibson, if he won his next two starts, he'd get to 11-4. We've seen another Twins pitcher do that. Minneapolis, Minnesota's 114. So yeah, this is. Couldn't say this is a strong pick, but White Sox do have a chance to upset. They would be a nice payout. So that's the way I look at that game. The Indians and the Royals. The Royals upset narrative today, they're a slight underdog at home. Junis with the win is 7-8. Cleveland 78. Could be. The narrative for the Indians to win is if they do win, the Royals will become 5-9 versus the Indians. Kansas City Royals is 59. And as I say that, is Cleveland Indians 95? It is. Ooh, it is. So that actually doubles that riddle. That doubles that riddle. So from the Indians' perspective, they could be 9-5 versus the Royals, and from the Royals' perspective, they could be 5-9. Kansas City Royals 59. That's tough to go against. That would be just a little bit too perfect. And again, we talked about how if the Royals drop 3 out of 4 in this series, they've already lost one, they'd get to 67 losses. That's the overlap number. Kansas City 67, Cleveland Indians 67. So if the Indians are up 2-0, very strong shot that they do win 3 out of 4. There's still an upset narrative through Junis becoming 7-8, which is possible. It only takes one riddle. Let's check out the pitchers for these teams in the days upcoming. Clevenger can become 5-2, and isn't Kauffman Stadium 52? So Kauffman Stadium's 52. So Clevenger, he's pitching at the right location tomorrow to become 5-2. That would make some sense. So if the Indians won the first 3, what about Sunday? Trevor Bauer 9-7, Danny Duffy 4-5. I actually don't see anything. We'll have to look more at that game, but there's reason to believe the Indians can win tomorrow, and then nothing real clear for the Sunday game. But Indians winning 3 out of 4 would make a whole lot of sense. Did we look at who these guys face next when we did this last time? Let me just go back and double check that. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Plesac will face the Astros. I think there's a big clue with that. At home. Yeah, I don't see that. Maybe we did look and I didn't see anything with it. Royals schedule. One, two, three, four, five. It's the Blue Jays. Yeah, I think we did look and I didn't see anything. If he got a no decision, he could be 6-8 to face the Blue Jays next game. But yeah, that 5-9, 9-5 thing, that's pretty tough to go against. I mean, that would make perfect sense for their head-to-head record. So Junis is the one prayer. Okay, this Cardinals game, the only thing that really pops out to me is Flaherty. With a loss, he's 4-7. St. Louis is 47. The line's even in that game right now. Schilt, the manager for the Cardinals, is on 75 losses. His next win's 97, the 25th prime. St. Louis 25. Doesn't have to come today. But with regards to being on 75 losses, Houston Astros is 75. Busch Stadium, where they're playing, 76. Houston 77 if he dropped 2 in the series. Either team can become 7-7 in interleague play, and Houston 77. But the narrative that stands out the most to me is Flaherty 4-7 in St. Louis. Orioles and Angels, I like this Wojciechowski, however you say his name, to be 5-8. Baltimore 58, Angels 58. I don't even care who the Angels put in there. Just the 58s come through so much for the Angels. Can't go against it. The Rangers and the Athletics. Let's see here. Mangden with the loss. The Oakland pitcher is 5-2. Today has the lesser date numerology of 52. Texas Rangers is 52. So that stands out the most amongst the pitchers. Lynn, I could make an argument for him losing, just a small one. If he became 12-7, a bit like 127, the 31st prime, Oakland's 31. But the stronger riddle, I think, is him getting his 13th win. Oakland's 41, the 13th prime. 13's the 6th prime. Melvin, the manager of the A's, if he didn't win today, it's 271 days after his birthday, the 58th prime. They're on 58 wins. The head-to-head records you can make sense of either way. The biggest riddle for Oakland to win today, and Oakland is a slight favorite, the biggest riddle for them to win is to become 4-1 at home on the 41 date numerology. Oakland 41. The Rangers yesterday picked up their 44th win versus the AL on a 44 date. Today they have a shot at the 45th win on the 45 date. So one other thing is that the A's already lost one in this series. If they didn't lose any more, they would stay at 46 losses. Rangers is 46. That's possible. But it seems that things are a little bit better for the Rangers today. But I do worry about, again, Oakland becoming 4-1 at home because Oakland's 41. Caller?
Hey, I just want to point out one quick thing. So it's 16 days till the Tish B'Av thing that we've been talking about. The Rangers could get their 53rd win today.
Is it 16 days to August 10th or 11th? August 11th. It's span of 16 days to August 10th. Okay.
I noticed there's also the 53rd win, rather, on the board for the Diamondbacks. That was one of you had leaned against them.
What were you thinking about with 53 and the Diamondbacks?
Well, I was just thinking in terms of the 16 days, 16th prime is 53. And so the 53 is only on the board for those two teams because they're both on 52 wins. The thing is, they could go to 52 and 52, both teams rather, because today's 52 day numerology.
Yeah, it is the lesser date of 52. That is true. Yeah. Yeah.
There was also a 16 on the board for the Dodgers. There was 16-5 against the NL East. But that game, Dolph had brought it up. He had found a connection with Ryu based on his age. Let me find what it is. So the starting pitcher numbers, rather, 99-19, summed to 118. Ryu is 11,811 days old today. He was born March 25th, 1987. The Dodgers' next win is their 282nd head-to-head. Sanchez can get his 107th loss at 28th prime. Tishbaov equals 82 and 28.
Hold on, I'm trying to go back to that game. Dodgers Nationals. Okay. Things were looking a bit. So you're saying the Dodgers with the win has some alignment?
Yeah, because it has like the 16 on the board for their NL East record, and it also has these other connections going on with the starting pitcher numbers combined 118. Ryu has got the 11811 days old today, so it's like the 118 both directions, and then it also has the sync with their 282nd head-to-head win. Sanchez get his 107th loss, 28th prime, and a connection of 82 and 28 to Tishbaov in Gematria.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. And I was just liking that Sanchez with a loss would be 6-7 because he'll face the Braves next.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so that looks even better than for the Dodgers. But the line is kind of junk. The one thing that was interesting, though, notice this minus 160, there's 16 reference.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes they do this with the lines. I noticed this as well with the Red Sox line that's currently up there. The Red Sox are plus 111.
New York number.
Yeah, so who knows how that's going to go.
It is New York's birthday. Yeah, all right, appreciate it. Okay, so we were reviewing the games, and we were talking about, we were about to get into the Giants and the Padres. And so Samardzija, he's pitched well against the Padres for his career. He's 9-3 versus the Padres. With a win, he could improve to 10-3, like 103, the 27th prime. Padres equals 27 date. But his immediate season record's concerning because with a loss, he'd be 7-9, and San Diego Padres is 79. Lucchesi, his record also makes a lot of sense with a loss today. He'd be 7-6 on the season. San Francisco 76. It is Orange Friday. And in recent months, since the Giants started playing better, they've been a pretty hard team to beat on Orange Friday, home and away, seemingly. The Padres, if they were able to win 2 or 3, they would get to 25 home wins. Giants is 25. We've seen that number play a lot. If Giants lost today, they would be 52-52 on the lesser date numerology of 52. So I think that game's, kind of dangerous. But Giants on Orange Friday. Lately, it's been good. And then the Tigers and Mariners, I'd probably just stay away from this game. We got the Mariners yesterday. To take the Mariners 2 days in a row is dangerous. There's nothing super clear about this game. So just one more time, super fast. German Marquez with a loss makes a ton of sense in Cincinnati. Anibal Sanchez with a loss becomes 6-7 to face the Braves next time. Braves 67. We're about to say Cincinnati equals 96. Castillo can also become 10-3, like 103, 27th prime on 27 date. Arrieta can become 9-7. Philadelphia 97. 97, the 25th prime. He'll face the Giants next. This Diego Castillo all-time can become, with a loss, he would be 5-9 for his career. Toronto Blue Jays 59. 59, the 17th prime. He'd be 1-7 on the season. Thinking the Blue Jays can actually win this series here. Yankees and Red Sox, man, it's New York's birthday. You got riddles going both ways. Keep in mind, Andrew Cashner's not really 9-3. ESPN just changed that in the middle of the day. I don't know why. He's 9-5 for the year. He was 9-3 with the Orioles, who he doesn't pitch for anymore. But Paxton's number 65. He can become 6-5. New York Yankees 65. It's New York's birthday. We looked at the last 11 years of how the Yankees have performed on this day. It's been really well. 11 years ago today, they beat the Red Sox on this day. New York, the 11th state. They became the 11th state. July 26, 1788. So there are riddles for the Red Sox to win today, absolutely. But it is New York's birthday, and it just got me going, do the Yankees go down on New York's birthday? It doesn't happen very often. Again, you're more than welcome to go back and look. Hell, let's just do it one more time for the people who weren't here. Let's just, we'll do it real fast. Let's see. July 26, 2018 box scores. Let's just do it one more time and make sure we got it accurate. I like this because we can just flip through it. So, last year on this day, Yankees beat the Royals 7-2. Royals equals 72. Go figure. And the Mets beat the Pirates good. And the Mets play the Pirates again this year on this day. 2017. Find my scores. The Mets did lose 2 years ago on this day. The Yankees beat the Reds 2 years ago on this day. Make sure there weren't doubleheaders. We saw some doubleheaders in some years. 2016. Yankees beat the Astros. And the Mets did lose to the Cardinals, but it was a doubleheader. The Mets won the second game. So the Mets split on that day. 2015, New York beat Minnesota. Mets beat Dodgers. 2014, Mets did lose to the Brewers. Yankees did lose to the Blue Jays. See if I remember right, that was the only day they both lost. So that was 5 years ago. 2013. Let's see. Yankees lost to the Rays. Mets beat the Nationals. Oh, Mets actually had a doubleheader that day. Mets split that day, but Yankees did lose. So I guess you could say technically they did both have losses in those 2 years. 2012, Mets beat the Diamondbacks. I think the Yankees didn't play on this day. Yeah, they didn't. 2011, pretty sure they both won in 2011. Mets beat the Reds. Yankees beat the Mariners. And that makes sense. New York, the 11th state. They became the 11th state on July 26th. So in 2011, they both win. 2010, Yankees beat the Indians. And the Mets didn't play that year. Whoops. 2009. Let's see. Mets beat the Astros. Yankees beat the A's. They both won that day. 2008, that's how far we went back last time. 11 years ago, Yankees beat the Red Sox 10-3. And the Mets lost to the Cardinals that day. So the New York team split. But the Yankees, you know, they've been the more winning team between the New York teams, but there's plenty of days where they both won. Only one day where they both lost. Well, unless you count the doubleheader day. So 2007, the Yankees lost to the Royals. We're going back further. Oh, the Mets actually lost that day. So we didn't go back this far last time. This is going back 12 years now. Mets lost to the Pirates, and the Yankees lost to the Royals. The only thing I could say that's interesting about going back 12 years ago where they both lost on this day is Mets does equal 12, and Yankees does equal 37, the 12th prime. The Mets are playing the Pirates again. If the Yankees were playing the Red Sox, I'd lean more on that historical riddle. Last year, the Mets beat the Pirates good. But just going with history, I mean, it's hard to go against both New York teams on this day. So 13 years ago, Mets won and Yankees won. So and keep in mind, it is 2019, 20 plus 19, 39, more New York numbers. 7/26, 1788, the birthday was a date with 39 numerology. And that was the other thing we said. It's interesting that a 48 shows up in both New York games because birthday equals 48, and so does New York. The Red Sox could get their 48th loss. The Mets could get their 48th win. So, all right. The Diamondbacks and Marlins. I think the Marlins are a potential upset today. Greinke can become 10-5. Arizona's 105, and Alcantara can become 5-9. Miami Marlins is 59. The Cubs Brewers game, not a lot to go off of. If Hendricks does win, he's 8-8. He'll face the St. Louis Cardinals next, to equal 88. And Gonzalez, if he lost, he'd get his 99th career loss. Brewers 99, Illinois 99, Cubs 9. So it would be a good team to get his 99th loss against. Today has the 9-date numerology breakdown. So I am kind of leaning on Gonzalez picking up that loss. Again, all the primary date numerology today is 9. 72, 45, 27, those are all 9 numbers. 7 plus 2, 9, 4 plus 5, 9, etc. The White Sox are another potential upset. If Pineda lost, he'd be 6-6. White Sox is 66. If C's won, he'd be 2-2. Twins is 22. But there were some concerns. The White Sox do win. They're 3-5 versus the Twins this year. Chicago's 35. They can get their 27th home win on the 27 date. I guess just the concern is the White Sox aren't very good and the Twins are, but more does line up there for the White Sox. Indians and Royals. Again, the riddle for the Royals upset is June is to be 7-8 because Cleveland's 78. But if the Indians win, they'll be 9-5 versus the Royals. Cleveland Indians 95, and that would make the Royals 5-9 versus the Indians. Kansas City Royals 59. So having trouble going against that. And the Cardinals-Astros game, the strongest riddle I see is Flaherty being 4-7. St. Louis 47. In the Orioles game, Asher Wojciechowski, he can fall to 5-8 all time with a loss. Angels 58, Baltimore 58, so I'm taking that. And Rangers Athletics, dangerous. I think this game, more does line up in my opinion for the Rangers, but just the fact that the Athletics can be 4-1 at home, that's just enough to make me apprehensive because that number comes through a lot for them. Oakland's 41. Giants and Padres, I think, is dangerous too. Samardzija with a loss would be 7-9 for the season. San Diego Padres is 97, but with a win, his all-time record versus the Padres could make sense. Remember yesterday, for example, Tanaka with a win for the season, his record would have made perfect sense, but with a loss, his record would have made perfect sense against Boston all time. So it's kind of the same thing with Samardzija. His all-time record versus the Padres makes more sense with the win, but I've seen that scenario before where it ends up being the season record. So if the Padres do win 2 out of 3, they'll get to 25 home wins. Giants 25. Don't like to doubt the Giants on Orange Friday, though. And then Mariners, since we took him yesterday, I think I'm going to make a rule that when we win with the Mariners, better just shy away the next day because they rarely win 2 in a row. So I will put up a review video with a little bit more information. Again, if you're following golf, John Rahm's up at the top. John Rahm had a really awesome alignment. I guess he's tied for first now, so he's down 2 strokes. Yesterday he led. He was the sole leader yesterday. Remember, yesterday was 257 days after his birthday, the 55th prime. The name of the course equals 55 and 62. He shot a 62 yesterday. We saw how recent winners have had the 55 connection when they've won. John Rahm's name also connects to the name of the tournament. So he had the birthday and the name. Cantlay's got the 55 connection. He's right up there too. That's the other big number in the tournament. And again, go through the notes. So see what's going on. Koepka's right there. Koepka had a nice connection. Watson's dropped today. For Hatton, this is his 55th tournament, if I remember correctly. Either that or he's got the 55 name. He's got a 55 though as well, Hatton. Rory's coming up today. He's having a better day. His next win is his 79th, or not his next win, his next top 10 is 79. St. Jude is 79. And again, be sure to go over all the notes. But this Haotong was the long shot guy that had some nice connections. He's not far behind, 1 under. So a lot can happen between now and the end of Sunday. All right, we'll leave it there. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. Good luck. Look for the review video if you need it. Until next time.